The classroom was always loud during the first period of the day. Students talked, laughed, and passed notes while waiting for the teacher. Sunlight entered through dusty windows, lighting up rows of wooden desks. At the very back of the room, on the last bench near the wall, sat a quiet boy named Ayan. He kept his head down, his books neatly stacked, and his eyes fixed on the pages. No one paid attention to him. Ayan always sat on the last bench. Teachers rarely asked him questions, and classmates thought he was weak in studies. Some students whispered, "Last bench students never succeed." When the teacher entered, the class became silent. The teacher began teaching math, writing equations on the blackboard. Ayan carefully followed every word, silently solving problems in his notebook. During the break, a group of students laughed near the front benches. One boy pointed toward Ayan and said, "Why do you even study so hard? You'll always stay at the back." The others laughed. Ayan heard them but said nothing. He quietly opened his lunchbox and ate alone, staring out the window at the playground. After school, most students went home to rest or play games. Ayan walked through narrow streets to a small house. Inside, his mother was stitching clothes under a dim light. She smiled tiredly and asked about his day. Ayan replied softly, "It was fine." That evening, he studied by a small table while helping his younger sister with homework. One morning, the teacher announced a surprise test. Panic spread across the classroom. Students flipped pages and whispered answers. Ayan remained calm. He carefully read every question and wrote confidently. The classroom was silent except for the sound of pencils moving across paper. A few days later, the teacher entered the class holding test papers. The room was tense. One by one, names were called. When the teacher reached the top score, she paused and said, "Ayan." The class froze. Everyone turned to look at the boy from the last bench. The teacher announced that Ayan had scored the highest marks in the class. The same students who once laughed now looked shocked. Some felt embarrassed. Ayan slowly walked to the front to collect his paper. The teacher smiled proudly and said, "Talent doesn't sit on the front bench or the last bench. It sits in the mind and heart." Ayan returned to his seat, his face calm but eyes shining. During lunch break, a few classmates approached Ayan. One of them said, "Can you help us with math?" Ayan nodded politely. For the first time, he was not alone. Students gathered around his bench, listening carefully as he explained problems. On the last day of school, the teacher asked Ayan to come forward. She gave a short speech about hard work and patience. She said, "Never judge anyone by where they sit." The class applauded. Ayan looked back at the last bench one final time, grateful for the journey it gave him. Ayan walked out of the classroom with confidence. The last bench had not defined his future, his dedication had. Moral: never underestimate anyone. Hard work and patience always shine, no matter where you sit.